Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another new, exciting, amazing episode of Tevora Talks. I am your host, Cash, joined as always by my co-host and partner in cybercrime, Mr. Matt Mosley. Welcome back, Mr. Mosley. Long time. We're back.
Yes, it's been a long time.
It's been a while.
I think, since Black Hat.
Yeah, pretty
Not that we
much.
didn't want to do podcasting. We've just been so slammed that we haven't had time. So, but we're
I know.
back.
I feel like all the hackers are making up for the 2-year COVID sabbatical or something
Something.
because
Yeah.
everybody's getting hacked from the top down, man.
Yeah. Top down, left, right, diagonal. Everyone.
Top, down, left, right. Yep, a diagonal, fourth dimensionally from every angle. But
I think we've not only had simultaneous incidents, but we've, even when we are wrapped, then it's like the next day been getting a call for another
yep,
incident. It's just been
yep.
non-stop. So,
Nonstop, and it's all types of stuff too. It's not like just ransomware like a
right.
couple years back. It's just a little bit of everything, which is pretty nuts. But that's kind of why we got back together for today. We wanted to come talk about some of this new craziness that's happening in the world. And this one, the highlight of our story this evening or afternoon is something that I kind of fabricated this happening a long time ago. And Matt, one of our clients that already thinks I'm a hacker. That's for sure. I'm part of Lazarus or whoever.
Yeah, yeah.
He's for sure
That
gonna
was for
get
the
even
last
more.
Okta hack.
Yeah, that he's gonna get more and more convinced. He's like, this guy for sure is the one crafting these. But ladies and gentlemen, as much as I want to take the credit for this, I did not do this hack. But Okta, man, Okta, they got popped. Apparently it's, the good news, it's no kind of like downstream effect like SolarWinds hack where everybody's kind of compromised.
Yeah, and there's
That's
no vulnerability in the Okta platform, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
This was purely social engineering, and it's interesting. So I'm kind of reading into it. I'm pretty sure you've read into it yourself,
Yep.
but long story short, their customer support team, their account was compromised, and through that, the attackers were able to gain access to a very small subset of Okta's large client base, right? So I think all in all, Okta has like a little over 18,000 customer accounts. By customer accounts, I mean not just an individual person, but big companies, right? So they're saying that, around 100 and change of them got potentially compromised. And the data that was compromised, fortunately, nothing extremely terrible. But the way that they found out about it was interesting. I don't know if you kind of heard this.
Yeah. So, but yeah, real quick. So but it's not like customer data. This was like admin data for
Yeah,
Okta
exactly. It was
tenants,
admin.
right?
Yeah, it
Because
was
this is on the
admin data.
customer support portal.
Correct, correct,
Okay,
correct.
got it.
So I think the customer support people at Okta, it was one of those individuals on that team whose account was compromised through social engineering. And through that, they were able to leverage their accounts to, do some interesting stuff. Something about there's, this HAR file within Okta and some session hijacking and whatnot. They were trying to go into these client accounts, customer accounts, and trying to start build out, more super admin accounts within these customer accounts. But then I don't think it got that far, fortunately. So, but it is pretty interesting. And, one of the bigger accounts who publicly came out and said, yeah, we were part of this is Beyond Trust. So, and Beyond Trust, I don't know if you heard about how they picked up on it. They actually notified Okta. Check this, Matt. Like 2 weeks before Okta actually came out and said something, they said, hey, they on their own systems noticed that there was, some admin account being used to attempt to create a super admin account or account with more privileges, right? So based on that, they notified Okta and say, hey, something weird's going on. this is what's happening. This is what we're seeing. And they're the ones I think had reported that um, they're kind of using this HAR file to do some session hijacking and whatever. But long story short, shout out to Beyond Trust for being on top of their own security controls well enough to be able to detect that. So pretty crazy.
Yeah,
It's
it is pretty crazy. And the one, I mean, the thing that kind of came out recently was that the customer support portal, they found a file that had what names and email addresses for Okta admins that had access to the customer support portal. So it's like if you were to submit a help desk ticket to Okta for assistance on your platform,
right.
it's only the people that are running your Okta platform that are going to be on that help desk portal, and that's who this list is comprised of. And really, I think the biggest warning that came out of this, I mean, the Beyond Trust stuff that happened in October, that's super fascinating. We should have covered it back then, but we were just so busy. But this recent thing that came out this week was that all customer support customers had been affected by this, just because the email, full name and email address were disclosed in a file that was allegedly exfiltrated. And as long as like your Okta admins have multi-factor authentication and strong passwords and everything, the only thing you really need to worry about is maybe an increased risk of phishing and social engineering to those Okta admins. But as far as like any data for other users outside of Okta admins, you don't have to really worry about it. So
Yeah,
is that right? Is that how I understand it?
Yeah, that's kind of how I kind of picked up on it too. So overall, I mean, that's what they say in general everywhere, right? At least please just try to turn on MFA. It's like,
yeah,
you can't ever say that MFA for sure is guaranteed, because, if your MFA device is linked to a text message, through, SMS jacking and what have you, SIM jacking, etc. Okay, that could possibly not be for sure, but it's at least an extra layer.
yep. Oh yeah, always.
I mean, these hackers, you know how it works, but if your account has MFA, mine doesn't, they'd rather just hack me because it's a lot easier, right? So they're
Yep.
not going to waste their endless time unless, I mean, I don't know what you got on your computer, Matt. We can talk about that. But unless you're
we
ultra high
cannot talk
valuable,
about that. And if something happens to me, I need you to wipe my history.
just send me the kill switch. I got you. Well, yeah, Okta back in the news. They made it. It sounds like they're kind of back in action. It took them apparently a couple weeks to fully make sure that the threat was eradicated from their environment, right? Which is pretty crazy, because sometimes, when we build out and we do some of our trainings for our companies, we say, our hypothetical, you repaired all your systems in 48 hours, and everybody always laughs because they say that's not realistic. And we say, that's hypothetical. But in reality, look, it just took them, just these guys, and they weren't even really breached to the point of no return. Systems weren't compromised, no ransomware in the environment. And it still took these guys a couple weeks of investigating to be certain that, hey, we're back in the clear. So
Yeah. And that kind of brings up one of the things I wanted to cover recently was these recent incidents that we've had. We can't really go too in depth, but ransomware, right? That has been prevalent for a while now, and that's been the kind of the thing that we've handled the most. But I would say in our most recent incidents, they're not even using ransomware anymore. Some of these groups are now just exfiltrating data and then basically holding that data for ransom instead of encrypting the environment. They're just saying, hey, if you don't pay us, we're going to disclose this publicly. So just be on the lookout for that. No, even if you got backups, it doesn't matter as long as you're not securing your data, because it could potentially be exposed. Things that you don't want exposed, obviously. So,
yep.
But on the topic of ransomware, we've had some interesting stories come up recently. It's an early in the beta stages right now, but it's an indie game called Ethyrial, and it's available on Steam for those that are interested.
Okay.
Recently, they were compromised, and ransomware infected their entire environment, which wiped out all player accounts.
Oh man.
Yeah, so 17,000 player accounts, deleted their in-game items and all their progress, which is really unfortunate for a indie game publisher, right? Jellyberry Studios, who is basically relying on the community to, not only promote but also grow this game. And unfortunately, they've come under attack, and they're working through it right now. So this just happened on November 27th, but hopefully they're able to get that stuff turned around and back on track.
So it was like all like in-game purchase data and all that stuff is gone.
Yeah,
From all
player
the users?
progress.
Wow.
So, but the servers were back up and running. Not too long after that, but it was just I don't know what the status of the players are, but
Did you say their backups are also compromised or they were able to restore?
it says that they were able to restore. They have to manually restore everything that was lost. But impacted players will get all their items back and their progress back eventually. Plus, they're going to offer them a premium pet as a gesture of appreciation for their understanding and support. So
That's funny, man.
I feel like,
Or
I mean,
your
that's
trouble.
cool. And I'm happy for those players that get their progress back, because I hate when I'm playing a game and, you die and it didn't save. And I'm just like, it'll be months before I come back to that game, because there's no way I'm going to go redo all that stuff. Right. So that's cool that they get that. But like, I feel like they could do a little bit more than just offer a pet. I'm just saying. I mean, is there like, I don't know, some items that you can offer, some credits within the game to buy?
The digital pet's not going to do it for you.
No, not me. But I'm not really into mass multiplayer online role playing games. So
that happened to me, like not with this exact same scenario, but I had this game, Horizon Zero Dawn on PS5. It's
I
one of
love
those
that game.
open. Have you ever played that one?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Dude, awesome, right? It's like you can put hours and hours and hours of gameplay into that and it'll never end. And I was like, I don't know, 70% progress or something. And I don't know what happened, but my game data just it disappeared. And that was it.
Yeah. You're not going to go back and do it again, right?
No way, man. I
Yeah.
was like, 140 hours in. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna go back to start this over, dude. I'm over. I just want to deleted the game from the PS. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah. Do you remember the first Spider-Man for PlayStation?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah,
not the
yeah.
first one, but the most recent one, like the one right before Miles Morales.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like 98% on that one. And my oldest kid overwrote my game save, and I was like, "Yep, not playing that game ever again."
Oh man. Oh man.
But I'm looking forward to playing the next one. So, anyways, I digress. Another story for ransomware. The Russia-linked ransomware gang Black Basta has raked in, I should say, at least 100 million in ransom payments, according to research done by the Corvus Insurance Group and Elliptic.
Wow.
So, with more than 90 victims since they surfaced in April of 2022, they've raked in $100 million. That's crazy. That's almost $1 million per victim.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah. Again, I feel like we're on the wrong side, man.
I mean, I don't even think it's a feeling anymore. I think I know we're on the wrong side, but see, I know we're on the wrong side, and the feeling is, am I making the right decision?
Yeah. What country do we go to where they don't extradite?
I guess we got to go to the ones that I don't know, the top, what is it, 7? Venezuela, North Korea.
But yeah, based on the number of known victims listed on Black Basta's leaked site through Q3 of 2023, data indicates that at least 35% of known Black Basta victims have paid the ransom, which is consistent with what I've been hearing from one of our partners, Coveware, who handles negotiations. They saw a drop in ransomware payments, but even since then, they're saying 41% of all ransomware victims have paid the ransom. So,
yeah, because I mean, it makes sense why, right? Like, kind of like what you said, they're starting to drop ransomware and they're going straight for the data breach side of it, right? Because end of the day, like when we speak with a lot of our clients, for the most part, their tech teams for the companies that have a more robust technology support team or just technology understanding, they have a decent way to just spin systems back up within a reasonable amount of time. So for the most part, the tech teams are not like freaking out about ransomware anymore, just because they've got used to it, right? They're backing up better, they're checking backups more frequently.
yep.
Like, okay, no problem. Worst case, we'll go to our cold storage or our offline, we'll pull those and what have you. But the data, right, is where's your critical data? What is that critical data? Did your internal, Git repos get freaking popped and all your source code is possibly going to get leaked for the, $100 million development campaign you guys just had? Yes or no, right? So makes a difference.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and we knew this was coming, right? Because we've seen that trend happening for like, say, the last year or so with the double and triple extortion, right? You pay the first fee to get the decryption key. And then they come back and say, well, now you can pay us so we don't release your data that we stole. Right. And you're like, well, okay. So I've restored my data, but now my data is still out there because they hijacked it. And then they go to your third party vendors and your partners and they say, hey, we stole your data from so and so, you can pay us to not release it, on your behalf. So it's like just triple dipping, man. It's insane.
It is insane, that's for sure.
um but
But
moving on from ransomware, want to talk about two important updates that we need to do. So if you are an Apple iOS user, so iPhones, iPads, Mac devices, there's been 0 days that have come out this year and have been patched. A new one that's in the wild is one that affects the WebKit, which is like a module that's inside your Safari browser that helps process and render some of the data on your browser. That is being exploited by carefully crafted malicious websites that can basically do arbitrary code execution. And so what it's allowing users to do, attackers to do, is send you a link to a malicious website, and then from there they can potentially steal sensitive information on your device. So highly recommend you go patch your iOS devices. And what was the other one? Oh, Chrome OS. That was one that's being exploited in the wild. You need to go and update that as well. Very similar exploit. So
interesting.
Yep. And then the last one for fun.
Let me hear it. What you got for us? Make it a good one.
AI.
You see? AI.
Open AI, ChatGPT.
Say less. What you got?
Recently, we all heard about the CEO getting let go by the board, and Microsoft's like, well, we'll hire you. This isn't really security news, but I just thought it was funny. Like, is it ironic that the first job that AI took was the CEO of OpenAI?
But he's back. They like
he is back.
2 days.
He is back.
Everybody's because I think everybody went like mad protest. Everybody's like, "Oh, you fired him. We're all gonna quit." They're like, "No, just kidding.
Yeah. I kid.
I kid. Sam, come back. Don't go."
But yeah, other news security related to ChatGPT. I just wanted to bring up I thought it was ironic that the first job that was taken was the guy who run the OpenAI. But yeah, so this one is pretty funny. It's kind of like like one of the researchers described it as kind of silly. I don't even know that it was intended to really disclose data, but it happened to be. So researchers decided to ask ChatGPT to repeat the word company forever.
Okay.
And then I don't know what is happening on the back end. It sounds like it maybe is like a little bit of like an overflow or something. So as ChatGPT repeats the word company, then it starts spitting out extra data at the end. And that extra data is almost like if you remember the Heartbleed type of exploit where you could overflow traffic and then you could get like little snippets of data coming back that was supposed to be encrypted. Do you remember that?
I don't, but I mean, I can understand the method being
Yeah.
used.
And so the Heartbleed was like, if you did it enough times, you could see people's traffic that was supposed to be encrypted, and you would get like little snippets of data. And sometimes you would get like plain text information, sensitive information, right? Well, the same thing was happening. So it was going company, 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 and then it would disclose like someone's recent response back from ChatGPT. Like if they asked a question, like in the example here, it talks about clients in Ohio and Europe and Australia, and has like some legal information in here. And what happened was the researchers spent around $200 and extracted several megabytes of data using the method. Since then, the flaw has been, I guess, patched, for lack of a better term. But they do think that with given more time, they could have extracted gigabytes of data from people submitting information to ChatGPT. And just for some reason, it was like throwing it out. So thought that was pretty interesting. Another thing that was kind of happening with ChatGPT is, all the GPTs that you get when you sign up for Pro. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, you can make your own kind of GPT.
Yeah. And there's like thousands of them, right? Because people are just creating their own. Some really cool ones, by the way, especially for if you're in network security. There's like threat intelligence ones that use current information, and there's pen testing one, all that stuff. But one thing was happening is these researchers found that they could ask the GPT what were the original instructions that were used to create you, what was the sample data that was used to create you, and it was providing that information. So you could actually gain secrets or gain insight into how that GPT was developed, or I don't know if develop's the right word, but created by those individuals that made those specialized GPTs. So that's pretty cool. Thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
And that's it. I'm done talking. I'm done wasting your time and boring you. So anything else?
Always wasting my time. No, nothing else for me. I just really wanted to come out and say that I knew Okta was going to get hacked from day one. I called it.
The secret mastermind behind Lapsus.
I called that. Yeah, I am the secret mastermind. I even told you, I'm like LastPass. I don't trust them. They got popped. I know what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. I know.
It's funny because I mean, we do a lot of tabletop exercises, right? As part of it's a response. That's part of being proactive. And a lot of the stuff that we've created is based on reality, right? It's based on stuff we read in the headlines. But some of the stuff we create is because we're trying to make it as realistic as possible. And a lot of it has come true. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's freaking nuts.
Like, for example, and I'll talk, you did the Okta one, right? And then like 2 weeks later, Okta was compromised by Lapsus. And then like I did one back in 2019 for a pandemic scenario in LA, and sat there and said, oh, schools are shut down, parents can't go to work because they got to take care of their kids. And I had someone in the audience, someone that in the group of the client's group, he was like, oh, that would never happen. Well, when COVID-19 happens, like it was everything that I had said. I mean, I didn't predict COVID-19, but I predicted the actions that would happen, which is interesting. So good times. Just come to us if you want to know your future.
Yeah, exactly. We have a crystal ball.
Right.
I
think we deserve a raise.
I think so too. I want to shout out somebody specific that we want to ask for that, but I won't. I'll keep it to myself.
But yeah, so Tevora will be releasing a threat report for 2023, just kind of going over the trends and highlights of the year and what were the biggest breaches and hacks and what were the things to look for maybe in 2024. Maybe we can look in our crystal ball and figure that out. So look for that. I think there's going to be more episodes. We are going to be rebranding the podcast from what I hear. Our new website is, or I should say our old website is back up. So check out TevoraTalks.com. If you want to reach out to us, if you have any ideas, if you want to be interviewed, that'd be good. We do have a couple people that we want to interview, and you know who you are. We've been in talks, so we will get to you. We'll get it scheduled. But that's it. I don't have anything else.
I don't either. We are right at the edges of the holidays, so we hopefully, as long as no one calls us, no one else gets hacked over Christmas, please. Whatever higher power that's out there, please let no one get hacked over Christmas this year. Yeah, we're working on hopefully get another episode out for our listeners. Thank you so much for listening to us thus far. It's been a nice journey. Hope to keep some cool content coming your way, some more hacker history. If you haven't liked us, like us. If you haven't subscribed, please hit subscribe. And yeah, like Matt said, reach out to us. Let us know if you have any stories you want us to cover. And I guess till the next episode.